Among the guards who have played with Curry, regardless of the level of strength, Poole's playing style is the closest to Curry's. They both have unreasonable shooting range and extremely difficult shots. The only difference lies in whether they make it or not. However, Poole's admiration and learning from Curry seem to be concentrated only on the offensive end. On the defensive end, Poole can be said to have not learned even a bit from Curry, especially in terms of defensive enthusiasm and defensive awareness. The topic we are going to talk about in this issue is how big the gap is between Poole and Curry on the defensive end. From the Warriors to the Wizards, Poole has been known for his poor defense throughout his career so far. Last season, when he was on the court, the Wizards would give up 119.5 points per 100 possessions. This number ranked 302nd among all players in the league. And for the players he was matched up against, their shooting percentage increased by 3.8% overall, among which the two-point shooting percentage increased by 6.2%, which is very exaggerated. Although these numbers are influenced by the team's poor defense, Poole's defense is so bad that he can be completely called the opponent's sight. Poole's problem is that neither his one-on-one defense nor his help defense is on point. In one-on-one defense, Poole can hardly defend against any offensive player above the average level. His defensive skills, lateral movement speed, and physical confrontation ability are all failing. Especially when switching defenses to larger-sized players, Poole has no resistance at all. Like in this round, Poole is defending Schroeder one-on-one. In response to Poole's defense, Schroeder without hesitation directly accelerates and breaks through on the right. Poole was completely passed in less than a second. Considering Schroeder's speed, being passed is still acceptable to some extent, but what's even more speechless is what follows. Schroeder breaks through to the basket and assists AD for an alley-oop. Under the condition that Poole has determined that he can no longer interfere with AD, he actually appears under AD and gives the opponent a chance for an additional free throw. In this round, not to mention the absurd defensive thinking of giving the opponent's right hand when knowing that Schroeder is good with his right hand. Why give a foul when it is already impossible to interfere? It is truly baffling. Let's look at another round of Poole's low-post defense. In this round, Poole is closely defending Russell's back to the basket. The latter passes Poole effortlessly with a turn and then scores with a layup. Looking back at the slow-motion replay, we can find that Poole's low-post defensive movement is very strange. He neither blocks his opponent's lower body nor moves his feet to follow his opponent's center of gravity. Instead, he is always making a hip-thrusting movement. Even at the moment when Russell passes him, he is still trying to defend with hip thrusting. This can no longer be described as poor defense. After watching such a round, I believe that many fans and I have the same thought. Is this really defense taught in the NBA? When defending pick and rolls, Poole's choices are even more confusing. For example, in this round, Poole defends the pick and roll cooperation between CJ and Wallen. CJ pretends to go to the pick and roll side. Taking advantage of the moment when Poole wants to fight through the defense, he suddenly changes direction and breaks through to the other side. As expected, Poole is passed by half a body position. This is nothing. It is still normal to be deceived. But Poole's speechless defensive operation comes later. When CJ passes him a little bit, Poole suddenly freezes on the spot and directly gives up chasing and defending. This move of his directly exposes the slow-footed loony in front of CJ. Of course, CJ will not be polite. With a simple rhythm change, he passes Poole and then scores with a layup. In fact, if Poole did not give up at the moment when he was passed by half a body position but continued to chase and defend, and cooperated with Looney's delay and interference, there is a good chance that this round can at least interfere with CJ's shot. And the price to pay is just letting go of Valen, who has a three-point shooting percentage of 34.8% and makes an average of 0.3 three-pointers per game. Compared to CJ, who can almost surely score 2 points on a breakthrough, the latter's long-distance shooting is undoubtedly something that can be left open. In this round, as long as it is a normal person, they know how to choose. Therefore, whether we explain it as a lack of defensive awareness or defensive inertia, Poole's habit of defending pick and rolls obviously has a huge problem. It doesn't matter if you can't defend well. At least you can't give the opponent such an easy offensive opportunity. Moreover, this round also exposes Poole's poor ability and habit of fighting through screens. There is a detail here. The step he takes before fighting through the screen is as slow as an interior player. Any experienced defensive player can easily handle this kind of defense. This seems to be telling the opponent, "Come past me quickly." The above are the common operations in Poole's one-on-one defense. It is expected that his defensive ability and skills are very poor. What is outrageous is his defensive willingness and habits. In contrast, Curry's one-on-one defense is completely different. Although Curry may be inferior to Poole in physical conditions such as jumping ability, height and wingspan, his defense is obviously much stronger than Poole's. Throughout his career, Curry has been dealing with endless pick-and-roll tactics. In every game, he has to defend the core offensive players of various teams for several rounds. In these rounds, although he is at a disadvantage in one-on-one defense, he shows completely different defensive willingness and attitude. Let's use some of Curry's rounds to compare with Poole. First, let's look at one-on-one defense against higher-level offensive players, such as matching up against LeBron. During the 4-year battle between the Cavaliers and the Warriors from 2015 to 2018, due to Coach Lue's tactic of constantly targeting Curry, there were many matchup rounds between LeBron and Curry. Although they are not on the same dimension in terms of body type, strength and speed, Curry's one-on-one defensive resistance is impressive. For example, in this round, when Curry faces LeBron's back-to-the-basket power play, although he completely can't hold up, he never loses his position and tightly wraps around LeBron's advancement with his body. And when LeBron comes to the basket, Green's help defense has already arrived. So this round ends with LeBron's targeting of Curry failing. Here we can compare this round with the one where Poole defends Russell. LeBron and Russell are many levels apart in offense. But in similar back-to-the-basket defensive rounds, Curry is not afraid of physical confrontation and keeps biting, while Poole gives up defense after a few hip thrusts. Even without talking about their defensive skills, just talking about defensive willingness, they are at two extremes. Let's look at defending pick and rolls again. We use a round exactly the same as Poole defending CJ's pick and roll as a comparison. In this round, the offensive player also goes to the right. Also, after the initial pick and roll, he passes Curry by half a body position. However, Curry does not give up chasing and defending like Poole. Instead, he directly leaves Valen and chases after the offensive player closely. Finally, with the help of Green's delay, he completes this defensive round with a fierce block. For players with poor defensive fundamentals, willingness and enthusiasm are the first things to have. Not being able to defend is a matter of ability, but giving up is purely a matter of attitude. If the ability can't be reached, that's fine. But can the attitude really not be reached? In addition, Curry and Poole have proven one thing to us with these rounds. When encountering being out of position, being passed by, or an offensive player one is not matched against, if one persists, one can wait for the help of team defense. But if one gives up at the beginning, then there is probably no later. Let's talk about help defense again. Under normal circumstances, the help defense tasks of guard players are not as heavy as those of frontcourt players, but they are all required to have some tasks of swiping for help defense. The specific operation is roughly as follows. When the ball handler goes down the middle, the defender on the weak side should reach for the ball or interfere when he is advancing, so as to interfere with his dribbling rhythm or force the opponent to pass the ball to role players. Poole has naturally been assigned such a job. In this round, Poole stands near the free throw line. His task is to guard the shooter outside the three-point line at the weak side 45-degree angle. At the same time, when the opponent breaks through down the middle, he provides help defense. In this round, CJ, facing Kuminga's one-on-one defense, decisively breaks through down the middle with his left hand after dribbling. This route happens to coincide with Poole's help defense position. But facing CJ, who is so close, Poole only symbolically touched CJ. The slowness of his movement is unbearable to watch. And CJ was not interfered much either. He easily broke through to the inside and assisted Valen, causing a foul by the Warriors. In this round, it seems unfair to say that Poole has no help defense awareness at all because he did slightly interfere. But it is also incorrect to say that he has a strong help defense awareness. Because his interference is almost equal to 0 and it didn't delay CJ's breakthrough at all. And in other team defenses, Poole's awareness is also almost equal to 0. Like in this round, the Warriors are playing zone defense and forcing CJ at the top of the arc to pass the ball. In response to this kind of defense, the Pelicans chose to pass the ball to create an open three-point shot outside the three-point line. Let's see what Poole did. After he saw CJ pass the ball to his teammate, he found that his own teammate was in a 1-on-2 situation and had to take care of the three-point shooters at both the corner and the 45-degree angle at the same time. According to the requirements of zone defense, at this time, he should quickly rotate and fill the position at the 45-degree three-point line and let his teammate fill the shooter at the corner. But Poole's footsteps are really too slow. He watched helplessly as his teammate failed to defend 1-on-2. Eventually, a three-pointer at the corner was made. This is a problem of defensive awareness. Poole can't read offenses and hasn't learned how to execute team defense. Let's take Curry's round as an example and see what the correct operation is. The first round is the supplementary defense while standing at the free throw line. In this round, Lillard directly passes the Warriors' topside defense. So Curry, who was originally guarding the shooter at the top of the arc, decisively lets go of his defender, firmly blocks Lillard's breakthrough route, and blocks this shot. The second round is Curry's supplementary defense in the interior. In this round, the Lakers used an interior pick-and-roll receiving and cutting-in tactic. LeBron took advantage of his teammate's off-ball screen to get open and receive the ball and directly attack the basket. Curry was very astute in seeing through this tactic and directly let go of another person and chose to double-team LeBron, who was cutting in with Wiggins. Curry's judgment was very accurate. LeBron didn't even get a chance to shoot in this offensive round and was intercepted. When guards provide help defense, the timing of leaving open and double-teaming is very important. Curry demonstrated it perfectly. Taking this round of defending LeBron as an example, although LeBron has a probability of completing a pass under a double team, it is obviously more beneficial to double team LeBron. Moreover, Curry chose to double team at such a deep position, and the possibility of causing a turnover is extremely high. This is the gap in defensive awareness between Curry and Poole. Curry knows defensive positioning, the timing of swiping for help defense, and when to leave open. His awareness is top-notch. While all of Poole's help defense and team defense are symbolic. Essentially, he still doesn't understand why he should be arranged like this. In the current basketball discussions, many people say that Curry's defense is not good. But if he is poor, it is only due to his physical talent. In terms of awareness and defensive skills alone, Curry is definitely at an excellent level. Moreover, the difficulty of matchup should also be considered. Overall, Curry's defense is roughly at the average level among guard players. In contrast, Poole is really just purely bad. His defensive level may be even worse than many people imagine.